I first of all welcome you all. Today's topic, the topic of the today's webinar is non-conventional machining processes and their importance in manufacturing industries. This webinar is going to be delivered by Dr. Sonigra sir. So first of all, let me introduce Dr. Sonigra sir. Dr. Sunil Sonigra. Actually, he is from Rajkot, and as far as the education is concerned, he completed his BTech and MTech from BBM Engineering College, SP University, in 1999 as 2008 respectively. And then after he pursued his PhD from Gujarat Technological University, and he completed his PhD in 2017. And as far as number of students who pursued the PhD under his guidance, there are 3 students right now who pursuing their PhD under sir's guidance. If we are talking about the area of interest, so sir is very much keen in work in machine design, industrial engineering, as well as in thermal engineering sectors. And he is 80 years of teaching experience and 2 years of industrial experience. So sir, on behalf of Paril University, I would like to welcome you. So welcome, sir. I think he's left it.
Processes and their importance in manufacturing industries. And these are the outlines of today's presentation. we will start with non-traditional manufacturing processes, then additive manufacturing, robotics, automation, and smart manufacturing. Now, before starting today's presentation, let me discuss why we have arranged such kind of discussion. Why you will spare your 1 hour with me, this online, and what is the output of today's discussion. So for that, let me give you one story about a woodcutter. Once upon a time, there was a woodcutter. He went to jungle to cut the wood using his axle. On the first day, he collected 20 kilogram of wood. On the second day, he gathered 19 kilogram of wood. On the third day, he went to the jungle with the same axle, with the same enthusiasm, in the same area, and there is a reduction in amount of output. The wood quantity reduced day by day, gradually. So, for example, on the fifth day, 16 kilogram, and so on. So can you think why this has happened? What could be the reason about the reduction of this quantity? As on the first day it was 20 kilogram, and on the 10th day it was reduced up to almost 50%. So the reason, yes, anyone can tell me what would be the reason for this reduction in data? Excuse me, sir. Is it a two-way communication or only should I speak? Jagdish, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
A two-way is possible, no?
Sir, actually not. This is only one way.
Okay, no problem. So I will ask you question, and then also I will also reply the answer of my question, right?
Okay,
just
sir.
Okay. Just students, please think about the answer. I will give you what is the answer. Here the answer is the woodcutter forgotten to resharpen his axle. On day by day usage of that his axle, the age of axle deteriorate. So hence it's needed to resharpen our axle in our day-to-day life. Whatever we do, our work, we have to restructure it. We have to resharp it. And how we should resharp it? That is by redoing any work. Now I am showing you some of the components. You may think of these components. Now tell me what would be the process of manufacturing whenever you have to produce such kind of component. Now as an engineer, whenever you will go in the field, you may ask such type of questions. So for example, in interview, the people may ask, this is the component, express how will you manufacture this? What would be the first manufacturing process, and subsequently how will you produce such kind of product? So at that time, we have to recall our first semester or first year subjects. That is, we learned about machining processes, lathe machine, drilling, milling, turning, grinding, slotting machine, shaping machine, penning machine. So we may think about those machines, but it's difficult to manufacture such kind of machines using those conventional manufacturing processes. So answer of this question lies in the non-traditional manufacturing processes. We have to go for non-traditional manufacturing processes to produce this type of components. And that is the today's outcome. What is non-traditional manufacturing processes? You might have learned some content about this title at somewhere. In a single word, I can say that if we cut the wood, what that woodcutter did, if I cut the wood without using axle, means without using any sharp cutting tool, that process is called as non-conventional manufacturing processes. Means there is no any mechanical contact between workpiece and the product. We remove excess material by using some other methods. Now, which are those methods and what are the basic principles of these methods that we'll discuss later on. Now, why should we go for non-traditional machining processes? The reason is that in traditional manufacturing processes, some drawbacks are there. Suppose you use lathe machine or drilling machine, milling machine. In those machining processes, tool wear is the biggest problem. You need to resharpen the tool every time, or you have to change the tool. Then second problem is surface finish is very limited. To have higher surface finish, we have to go for better machining processes. And for machining of harder material, harder tool is needed. So that is also not economical in some cases. And we cannot machine complex surfaces efficiently by conventional machining processes. So to overcome these four drawbacks, we have to go for non-traditional manufacturing processes. We will see some of the animations about NTM processes. Now let me see what are the advantages. Why should we go for these NTM processes? The first advantage is that we can do hardest material using this method. Whatever is the hardness of the material, we can do its machining. Second advantage is that we can have better surface finish with a small tolerance. Then workpiece is heat sensitive in this case. Forming complex parts, we go for NTM processes. And whenever the workpiece is too slender or too flexible, it flex because of the clamping. At that time also we use NTM processes. And when various NTM processes that we will discuss today, these are ultrasonic machining, laser beam machining, water jet machining, abrasive water jet machining, electro discharge machining, electrochemical machining process, etc. Now first we discuss ultrasonic machining. Now before discussing this, I would like to tell you that some of the words are very important as far as engineering is concerned. Suppose after completion of your graduation, you may have to appear in various competitive examination or in interview, or you may go for your own business, or you may try to go abroad. Everywhere, as a mechanical engineer, you should know few words that I am emphasizing over here. I am highlighting those words. For example, as a mechanical engineer, you should know what is ultrasonic machining. Not detail, just simple words. Like in ultrasonic machining, a vibrating tool is there that is shown in the screen. This is a vibrating tool. It vibrates with a very high frequency. Even you cannot see with a naked eye, and with a very small amplitude. Here it is highly exaggerated view. Actual vibration of amplitude is about only 40 to 80 microns. 80 microns means 50 microns is very, very small entity. We cannot see with visual eye. Here it is exaggeratedly shown that the tool vibrates with a frequency of 20,000 cycles per second. Means in 1 second, it will vibrate up to 20,000 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, like that. So it's a very high frequency and very small amplitude vibration is there. And in between the vibrating tool and workpiece, an abrasive slurry is inserted. It is moving freely between workpiece and vibrating tool. And because of the blasting of this abrasive slurry on the workpiece, the material gets removed from the workpiece. Even the workpiece is brittle, only small amount of material will be removed from the surface of the workpiece. And here the voice, that is very small, so we cannot hear with our normal ear. Whatever voice is coming, it's not audible to us. And it is used for brittle materials like glass ceramics. As nowadays the usage of glass has been increased on a vast direction. In every field, glass is widely used. So to cut the glass it becomes a challenge, and at that time USM is useful. And this is another exaggerated view of ultrasonic machining. You can see here like this, the vibration frequency is very high and the amplitude is very slow. In competitive exam, you have to also remember these words, that abrasive slurry is used and amount of vibration is very high, and the slurry material, which material we use as a slurry. That is, slurry means a semi-gel or a liquid in which some small particles are added. Normally, boron carbide, boron nitride, aluminum oxide, silicon carbide, and diamond dust. Any of these material can be used as an abrasive slurry. And we use this ultrasonic machining for hard and brittle material like ferrite, quartz, alumina, piezo ceramics, ceramic, matrix, carbide, etc. And in this case, the tool is made up of a soft material because it is not needed that tool must be harder because there is no mechanical contact between tool and workpiece. Tool remains away from the workpiece. The gap is maintained, and in this gap, an abrasive slurry moves continuously as shown in this diagram. And some advantages of using this ultrasonic machining is that the initial cost is low as compared to other non-traditional machining processes. Non-toxic fumes are produced in this case, so there is no any hazardous problem may be there. No heat is generated, so no any thermal stress would be there. And it's a very safe to use this machining process to remove the material from the workpiece. Then we think about disadvantages of using this machine. In this machine, material removal rate is very slow. We cannot do fast machining process as we do in milling or turning process. Overall machining cost is high because of limited usage in the number of components. Sharp corners cannot be machined using this machining process, and tool wear rate is higher because we need to change the slurry every time, and the cost of slurry may be the added in overall machining process. Now I am showing you one 3D animation of ultrasonic machining. This is an ultrasonic machine model. Here also, this vibration amount is very slow. Abrasive slurry, and this is workpiece. In this machining, the tool vibrates at a very high frequency, at an ultrasonic frequency, that is 20,000 to 30,000 cycles per second. And the vibration of this tool, an abrasive slurry, removes material in the form of small granules. This is the machined surface of the workpiece using this ultrasonic machining process. And this is a three-dimensional model of ultrasonic machining. Of course, this is model. This is not actual machine, right? Actual machine is I had seen in earlier PPT. And here, this is a velocity transformer through which the velocity of water jet, the vibration frequency is increased, and this is tool, and here power source gives the electronic oscillator an amplifier to convert the available electrical energy into frequency of vibration. And it converts electrical energy into mechanical vibration by using this transducer. So from this USM topic, which are the MCQs? Means the important questions that may be asked in competitive exam or in the interviews that we discussed. First question that is important is, which of the material is not generally machined by ultrasonic machining process? So here the correct answer is copper, because we can cut glass, silicon, we cannot, steel is used as a tool. Then USM, another question that is, USM can be classified as the following type of non-traditional machining process. Is it electrical, mechanical, optical, or chemical? So of course, this is a mechanical machining processes, because a mechanical bombardment occurs of the atoms of the slurry over the workpiece. The next question, increasing volume concentration of abrasive in slurry would affect material removal rate in the following manner. What you try to understand the question. Here they ask that if we increase the amount of abrasive slurry, then what will happen? MRR will increase, reduce, no change, or change and reduce? The correct answer is increasing MRR, because number of abrasive particles will increase in the concentration, and then because of more amount of vibrating particles, the material removal rate will increase. These are just four simple questions. If you understand about a thorough concept, n number of objectives can be found from this uh, uh, topic. Now, second is LBM, that is laser beam machining process. As we know, full form of laser is light amplification by stimulated emission of radiation. This question may be asked in competitive exam numerous of times, that has been asked. Now, how this LBM works? This is the line diagram, and this is an actual LBM machine. So in LBM machine, these are the flash lamps, and this is a tube, that is laser tube, in which laser material is filled up, and workpiece is mounted over the fixture like this, and a chamber that is having lens at the downward side, that is used in LBM. And in this chamber, a ruby crystal material is used, or any laser producing material is filled up in this tube. Normally, carbon dioxide, Nd:YAG is used as a laser beam material. And in this tube, this upper surface is totally reflected. Through this surface, the light rays cannot transmit, and this lower surface is partially reflected surface. So what will happen whenever this power supply is started, and through this reflected, through these flash lamps, here two flash lamps are there, whenever the power supply is started, then flash lamps will flash, that will ignite, and they will excite the electrons inside this tube. Here in this tube, electrons are there. It may be carbon dioxide or it may be Nd:YAG. So whenever these flash lamps will excite these electrons, they will start emitting an light wave with a high amplitude, same frequency, and the same wavelength. And that light is collected using this convex lens which is here. They are gathered here, and this concentrated laser beam will impart on the upper surface of workpiece. And because of it imparting of this laser beam, the temperature will increase. And because of this increase in temperature, the surface of this workpiece material will either melt down, or it may be vaporized. This is actual line diagram of LBM machining process. In the previous case, this was inclined line. So these rays will come straight away up to this lens, and after that they get concentrate over this workpiece. I hope my way of communication is suitable to you. If any queries there, do your message in this session, and sir will inform me about any alteration or any change in the way of communication. If English language is not convenient to you, you may tell me. I am also able to speak in Gujarati and Hindi. Now, advantages of using this LBM: we can cut any material by laser beam machining processes. Tooling cost is very less. No maintenance and no replacement of the tool is needed. It's very flexible, and we can do automation easily by using this method. Surface finish is very good in LBM machining. Complex shapes can be machined, as laser can move any path, and we can hole a micro holes with a very high accuracy by this laser beam machining process. And certain disadvantages are there of using this LBM, that initial cost is very high and maintenance cost is also high in LBM. It's needed to take care of safety hazard, because the laser rays which are coming out from this laser tube, they must be controlled in a proper way. Hence, it's needed to use a safety hazardous in this case, and it cannot produce a blind hole. That is the biggest limitation of LBM machining, that if you want to produce any blind hole, it's not possible, because the rays will pass through and through. We cannot control the depth of cut in this case. And these are the applications of LBM, laser beam machining processes. It is used in welding and cutting, in medical applications, garment industries, laser, nuclear fusion, laser printing, CDs and optical disc, heat treatment, and barcode scanners. N number of applications are there of using this LBM. Just you should remember at least 3 to 4. Whenever you go for interview, you may ask, express where LBM is used, or show where laser beam machining you can use. So at that time, you should be able to reply at least 2 to 3 sentences about LBM process. Now let me see how LBM welding is done in actual practice. This is a model of preparing a sample of steel plates having certain thickness and width is 40 millimeter, and these steel plates are joined using laser beam welding processes. So if you see this video properly, you will be able to express your views in interview about the application of laser beam welding and how to prepare the raw material for LBM process. Here first, these two plates are cut in various shapes. Here 4 experiments are performed with variable in speed. Speed is altered every time. The length is 125 millimeter and width is 40 millimeter, and 2 specimens are joined by butt welding so as to have a straight finish like this. This is a clamping devices that is mounted over this welding process. Nd:YAG is used as a laser material. This is the region where laser beam is produced. In industry, wherever laser beam is produced, that area is taken outside in a very safe place. Normally in that places, nobody is allowed to enter on that region. This is a laser head, and here laser beam machining process is going on with a speed of 140 centimeter per minute. It uses 1600 watt of laser power, and defocusing distance is -2 millimeter. Right, so that is LBM, another application of laser beam welding process. Now third process, that is water jet machining process. So can you imagine a simple jet of water spray can cut a thick material? It's difficult to imagine, but let me see how the jet of water can remove a material from any hard material. In this case, a high pressurized water is used about 200 to 400 megapascal. 200 megapascal is too high pressure, and the velocity of jet is about 800 meter per second. 800 meter per second means around 3000 kilometer per hour. Normal speed of aeroplane is 800 to 900 kilometer per hour, right? So this is around 4 times speed higher than aeroplane, about 3000 kilometer per hour. That much velocity is given to the water, and it can cut extremely thick parts, about 5 to 10 inches. And here the thickness of material depends upon the speed of that water jet, and tolerance about 50 micron is achieved by using this water jet machining processes. It is also used for deburring, trimming, cleaning, and polishing operations. These are the workpieces. These are prepared using water jet machining processes. You can see if you use traditional machining process, it would be very difficult to machine components like this. But using this WJM, we can easily remove the material. These are another 4 components. These are actually made by water jet machining process. These are another 4 components. You can see these components are very complicated, but they can be easily machined by water jet machining. And this diagram represents the flow of water in water jet machining process. Water is pumped using pump that is provided in the machine. Pump sends this water to intensifier, then it's sent to accumulator, and through control valve, the flow is regulated by this nozzle and a water jet is imparted over the workpiece. And applications of water jet machining are to cut thin non-metallic sheets. It is used in food industries, to cut rubbers, wood, ceramic, and some other soft materials. WJM is widely used in circuit board cuttings. WJM is used in paint removal, and to cut a thick glass sheet, we can go for water jet machining process. Even it's a very difficult task for any industry person to cut a glass with a good accuracy, because glass is a very brittle material. So if you use any conventional machining process to cut the glass, definitely you will fail. So at that time, water jet machining process is highly advisable. Now let me see how 38 millimeter thick bulletproof glass is cut by a water jet machining process. So this is a bulletproof glass. In actual practice, no any glass is bulletproof glass, right? Bullet means any bullet that is thrown through gun. If you do bullet, use the bullet nearby any glass, it will break down, but accuracy will not be there. So you can see here 38 millimeter thick glass that is waterproof, that is bulletproof glass, that has been cut easily by this water jet machining process. This is the jet of water with a very high velocity. You can remember the amount of velocity of this water jet, about 900 meters per second. That is much higher than the speed of an aeroplane or any jet plane. And the pressure of this water is about 200 to 400 megapascal. That is also a tremendous pressure that is employed to this water. And sometimes an abrasive slurry is also used in this water. It is mixed with the water to have better surface finish. So this bulletproof glass is cut using this simple water jet. And advantages of disadvantages of using this water jet machine, this is also very important questions. Any interviewer may ask you the question that express what are the advantages of water jet machining. So at that time, the first is it's highly flexible. You can use water jet machining anywhere in the field. You can machine any hard and brittle material, because glass is very brittle material, so you can cut with a very good surface finish using this machining process. Heat production rate is very less, so no any thermal stress would be there in the component, and accuracy is also very good in case of water jet machining process. And there are certain disadvantages of using this machining. First is a very slow material removal rate as compared to other machining processes. And sometimes it produces taper cut. If depth is too high, then the taper shape would be there. So that is another disadvantage of using this machining process. And this is not suitable for mass production because of very high maintenance. This machine needs a very long maintenance and a very frequent maintenance, so we cannot go use it for mass production. And another big advantage of using this WJM is that we can also cut aluminum. Even in industry, aluminum cutting is also a big challenge, because aluminum is a very soft material, as we know, and density of aluminum is also very less. But whenever we do machining of any aluminum sheet, it will bend, or the material of aluminum will stuck up with the cutting tool, and hence conventional machining would be difficult to produce such type of such type of components. So at that time, this abrasive cutting is advisable. You can see here this aluminum sheet is cut using this abrasive cutting tool with a very high accuracy, and shape may be of any complication. It can easily cut like this. I am forwarding this clip. because there is no need to see all the component, all the steps. Just you can see the final product. And yes, there is no any heating process, and hence no thermal stress would be there in this component, as well as no any mechanical stress would be there in this component. If you produce this type of component by conventional machining processes, then at the edges there may be the stresses. Now, fourth process, that is electro discharge machining process. In this electro discharge machining process, a simple spark is used to remove a material. To understand the working principle of this EDM, let me think about sparking of two wire. If I use an electricity or any DC power, if I join two wires, what will happen? If I start the power supply, join two wires, spark will be there. So that spark is used here to remove this material. Now, how to produce this spark between cutting tool and workpiece? So for that, this is the mechanism. This is a tool, this is workpiece, and workpiece and tool are connected to DC power source. Negative supply is given to tool and positive supply is given to workpiece. Now this tool and workpiece is separated with a small gap. A small gap is maintained between workpiece and the tool, and whenever electricity is supplied in this small gap, an inter-electrode gap is maintained that produces a very great resistance. And because of very high resistance, an electricity is produced, a heat is generated, and that heat is used to remove the material from this workpiece. This is an electro discharge machining process with an exaggerated view. Okay, that link is not working, we'll skip it. Now see about the advantages of EDM machine. We can machine any complex shape. Extremely hard material can be cut using this EDM machining process. A very small workpiece can be machined. No direct contact between tool and workpiece. Hence, no need of any mechanical stress or any thermal stress. Weak materials can be machined easily without any distortion. Good surface finish would be there. Very fine holes can be attained, and taper holes may be produced using these EDM machining processes. And there are certain disadvantages of using this machining. The first is slow MRR. See, in case of NTM processes, slow MRR is always the case. You can write blindly that material removal rate is slow because it takes very long time to cut material because they are doing an elementary cutting. Atomic cutting is there, molecular cutting is there, hence it's a very slow process. This also needs and skill experts because any layman cannot use this machine. Higher power consumption would be there, tool wear is higher. Reproducing sharp corners is not possible using this machining process. An electrically non-conductive material cannot be machined by this process. The machine material, whatever is to be cut, it should be electrically conducting. And this machining process is used. These are the applications in small hole drilling, die making, pipe industry, automotive industries, aircraft engine productions, everywhere. EDM process is widely used. Now, these are some terms important to know about electro discharge machining. That is wire electrode diameter, variable wire contour, die sinking, hole drilling. What are these steps? That I would like to show you with a small video clip. These words are new to us in EDM machining. This is a component. Wire EDM process is going on in this view. This is just a model. This is a wire electrode diameter, about 20 micron. 20 micron is a very small amount, small dimension. That is also possible using these EDM processes. We can do drilling of a hole of a very small diameter, about 50 micron, using this machining process. Any 3D complex shapes can be machined using this machining process. Hole drilling is also possible by this EDM process. You can see here length of diameter to hole is 600 times. Means we can do drilling of hole up to 600 millimeter if diameter is 1 millimeter, right? So 1:600 is the ratio of this electrode discharge machining process. Okay, Anand. To understand this process, let me recall the anode and cathode reaction process. This tool is connected to DC power supply and workpiece is connected to DC power supply with positive charge. So what will happen here? Machining of a low carbon steel. Let me take one example. We are machining of a low carbon steel, say ferrous alloy, right? So here workpiece is made up of ferrous alloy and a slurry, that is an electrolyte, is used. As an electrolyte, we use water and a natural salt mixture. So that is spread in between workpiece and this tool. And whenever NaCl and water comes into contact, they make an ionic dissociation. This we have learned. NaCl becomes Na plus and Cl minus, and water becomes hydrogen plus and oxide OH minus ions. This is the ionization of water whenever we add salt in the water, that we have learned in 5th or 6th standard, right? Now this basic principle is used in electrochemical machining process. How that principle is used? Whenever potential difference is applied between workpiece and tool, workpiece works as an anode and tool works as an cathode, right? So positive ions, whatever is there in this electrolyte, they will be attracted towards cathode, that is tool, and negative ions, that is chlorine and hydroxide, OH minus, they will be attracted towards anode, that is workpiece. So what will happen? Hydrogen ion will go to cathode here at the tool. This H plus will go to this tool. Then from the tool, it will take away electrons like this. This is the equation to show this reaction. 2H plus 2 electron, and it makes hydrogen gas at the cathode. So always in this process, at tool, hydrogen gas will be formed by this reaction, and the negative ion, that is Cl minus and OH minus, they will be attracted towards the workpiece. So what will happen? Whenever these two ions goes to workpiece is made up of ferrous, so Fe2 plus ion would be there. They will combine with this chlorine and hydroxide. So it will make FeCl2 like this. Fe2 plus 2Cl minus, that will make FeCl2, and sodium, that positive ion, will make NaOH. And hence here at workpiece, ferric FeOH twice and FeCl2 both will generated. That makes a sludge, and Fe atom is removed from this workpiece. So once an Fe is removed and a sludge is formed over the surface, it will be settled at the bottom of this tank. So we need to remove that sludge frequently, and thus Fe is removed from workpiece in a very gradual way. So there is no coating over any tool, or only hydrogen is produced at the tool, that is working as a cathode, and Fe is removed at an atomic level. We are moving atom one by one. Because of this type of movement, the surface finish is extremely good, and the process is very slow, and there is zero stress over the surface of that material. No any thermal stress is there, no any mechanical stress is there. Excellent surface finish is possible using this electrochemical machining process. So in interview, whenever you may be asked that suggest the best machining process you will use for ferrous, for iron, for n number of options. So at that time you can suggest that ECM is the best machining process because it removes the atoms at atomic level. This line diagram represents the movement of atoms that at workpiece Fe is there, Fe2 plus, that combines with Cl minus and OH minus, and that forms sludge of FeCl2 and FeOH twice. And at cathode, H plus ions will go and they will form hydrogen gas that will be escaped to the atmosphere. And this process is also shown with a small video clip in this PPT, in this video clip. This is a machine tool, and this is a workpiece having Fe ions, and these Fe ions are combined with OH minus and chlorine ions, that is Cl minus. And these white bubbles that are shown in this diagram are the bubbles of hydrogen gas. So there may be small bubbles of gases in this ECM machining process. So this is also another ECM machining process. I hope the ECM machining process is clear to you. The next is EBM welding process, electron beam welding process. In this process, a beam of electron is generated, and then they are concentrated in a using focusing coil in a vacuum chamber. Here vacuum chamber is used because of vacuum chamber, the accuracy of workpiece is very much higher as compared to another machining processes. And vacuum chamber is needed because if we do not use vacuum chamber, the electron beam, whatever coming from this cathode beam source, that may disperse around this area. So in this case, vacuum chamber is mandatory. Now let me see advantages of using this EBM machining process. It can weld similar or dissimilar metals. Very high material joining rate is there in this machining, in this welding process. Operating cost is low. No filler or no flux is used. It gives very high surface finish to the welding. It can weld hard materials as well. Less welding defects it will perform because it is done in a vacuum. The disadvantages are very high capital cost or setup cost. Size of workpiece is limited according to vacuum chamber. We cannot do welding of a very big size component because a vacuum chamber size is limited. More maintenance is required in this case. High skilled labor is also required, and portability is very less. We cannot do on-site work using this EBM welding process. We have to take the component to the machine. Machine cannot be moved from one place to another place. And these are the overall machining tolerances and surface roughnesses for various machining processes. Now next part is additive manufacturing. Now what do you mean by additive manufacturing? Till now we discussed about how to remove material from a raw available size of material to achieve a desired shape. To achieve any desired shape, we cut the material, we remove the material and achieve the desired shape. But you think in other direction. You may add the material and do achieve the desired shape. So that is called as additive manufacturing. It is totally opposite to subtractive manufacturing methodology. Till now we discussed only about subtractive manufacturing methodology. Now we discuss about additive manufacturing processes. Now what is additive manufacturing processes that we see using this video clip? This is a component. It is also three-dimensional printing process. In this manufacturing process, a three-dimensional model is prepared in a computer using any design software. Then command is sent to the printer. This is a 3D printer that uses certain raw materials, heat source, and solidifies using this cooling media, and three-dimensional components can be prepared using this process like this. You can see here any complex material can be any complex component can be prepared using this process. See the complexity of this material. It's a very complicated material, but it can be easily prepared using three-dimensional printing. And this additive manufacturing process will be revolutionary in nearby future. And advantages of using this 3D printing is that it reduces material wastages, zero wastage would be there. It reduces steps of production. In a single step, the component can be prepared. Inventory reduces. Very complex parts can be manufactured easily. And certain drawbacks also are there, that they uses very high energy. It's very expensive. Limited materials can be used. Now, this is not the drawback. This is an old saying that limited material can be used. Nowadays, 3D printing is done with lots of materials. Almost all materials are tested in three-dimensional printing machines. High skill is required, so not user-friendly. And 3D printers are very slow. These are the materials that is used in 3D printers, raw materials. This is the component that is prepared using this 3D printer. And these are the steps which are followed in 3D printing. First, we prepare a three-dimensional model. Then STL format file is sent to the machine. Machine is set up, and then it performs the printing function. Take out the part, clean the object, and do additional steps as and what are required. These are the areas where 3D printing is applicable: fashion and retail, medical field, food, games and entertainment, pop culture, space, etc. In how in medical field it can be used. In recently, and research is made that tissue can be used as a raw material. So what will happen if you use tissue of a human being as a raw material? In future, we may produce human organ using three-dimensional printing machine. We can produce eyes, we can produce heart, we can produce legs, hands. Any human component may be printed, may be generated using 3D printing if we can use cells as a raw material in the 3D printing device. Of course, that is still not done, but in future it is possible that we may made any organ using this 3D printing machine. These are the applications of 3D printing in jewelry, houses, building prototype, industrial components, customized items like gift, chocolates, etc. can be made using this 3D printing. Now another concept in Nike Vapor Hyper Agility Clit, 3D printing is used. General Electric's jet engines is also prepared by this 3D printing machine. These are the actual examples of 3D printing. 2000 tons bridge that is prepared using 3D printing machine. This is a prototype of that bridge, and a jewelry replicators by American Pearl is also prepared by 3D printing machine. So we can prepare gold ornaments also. Volvo construction equipment prototyping. These are most common industries which are using 3D printing application. I'm skipping this portion as it is not as much important as far as our graduate engineering syllabus is concerned. These are the 3D printing materials, thermoplastic mixed with other materials like wood, fiber, metal powder, glow in dark compounds, etc. Then biomaterials are also used in 3D printers, and human organs transplantation would be possible in nearby future by this 3D printing. At this moment, I would like to give you one idea about 4D printing. Can you think about four-dimensional printing? Yes, 4D printing means make a material which will change its functionality as and when some impulse is employed. For example, you make a shoes, right? Whenever a person has wear that shoes and he is running with a very high speed, an amount of heating would be there. So use that kind of material that will start cooling whenever heat is supplied to that component. And because of that cooling, the person who has wear that shoes, he feel comfortable. So that is called as fourth dimensional printing or fourth dimension of the material. You may think in this direction how to prepare such kind of material. That also would be possible in our clothing. Suppose we manufacture a cloth in which its temperature will change according to temperature of environment. If temperature of environment increases, the temperature of cloth will reduce. And opposite also is also true. Whenever temperature of environment reduces, the temperature of cloth will increase. So that is smart manufacturing or 4D printing. In this direction, the research are going on, and in about 5 to 10 years, it would be possible in our day-to-day life to use those kind of components in our routine lives. Now about robotics, let me skip these portions. Now, what is industrial revolution? Nowadays, you might have learned about Industry 4.0 concept, right? You might have aware about this. Just let me, within 2 minutes, I will show you what is Industry 4.0 concept. See, what is first IR? The first industrial revolution was taken place in 18th and 19th century. At that time, textile industries grown up, steam-powered factories started. In year of 1860 to 1920, second revolution of industries was done. They were using mass production, car manufacturing, production of electricity, etc. That was second industrial revolution. Third revolution was in 1950 to 2000, where computers, internets, automated machines, communication medias are used in day by day in industries. Digitization was there. Cost and quality was emphasized at that time. Now in this fourth revolution, what we do? Fourth revolution thinks about artificial intelligence, genetic engineering, Internet of Things, cloud computing, 3D printing, 4D printing, and 5D printing. What is 5D printing? That I am leaving to you. I have discussed about only fourth dimension. You think about fifth dimension. 5G, 6G, these all concepts are used in Industry 4.0. Means there is no need to, any person is needed in an industry. You totally use artificial intelligence. That is called as Industry 4.0. Lots of discussion would be there in this session. Now, within 1 minute, I would like to tell you how to represent your research work. Whenever you do any of your research work or any of your project work, use always third person. Don't use first person or single or second person. What is meaning? Suppose you have done some problem, solution of this some problem. You write like this: I have solved this problem by algorithm. He has changed the fixture design. We propose the action plan for solution of the problem. Here I have designed new components. No, these sentences must not be written in any thesis or any project or anywhere, right? Whenever you write your presentation, your work, you should write like this: the problem is solved using algorithm, or the fixture design is changed or altered, the action plan for solution is proposed, new component is designed in present work, like that. There are n number of examples. Just I am showing you few lines which students doing mistake every time. I have seen many projects of the student, they are doing such type of wrong write-ups. So you should take care about all these aspects whenever you show your research. Now let me go to my last slide to show about how you should start thinking. Yes, 4D printing. As I have discussed you, I am giving you this exercise to think about fourth dimension printing, how to do programming of 4D printing machine, which materials will you use, and how functionality will work, that you have to define. I have already discussed two examples, shoes and cloth. You think in that direction. This is a YouTube channel in which I have made numerous of videos and uploaded in YouTube. I will send this link to you, and you can subscribe this channel and do the study in Gujarati language. Thankful to you for listening me. If you have any query, you can ask me.
Okay, so thank you, Sonigra sir. That was an awesome and very informative sessions which was delivered by you, sir. Lots of questions I got it from the students as well as faculty, but due to the time shortage, I'm only covered some of the questions which was I think very important. So the
Okay,
first
sir.
question that was asked by one of our faculty is how MMR can be improved for USM by having less tool wear, as in UFM tool surface area is quite less as compared to the other unconventional machining processes, sir.
Yes, very good question. In USM machining, to increase MRR, two criteria are there. One is that either increase the amplitude, the frequency of vibration, because amplitude we cannot change. Either increase the frequency of vibration, and second is use more amount of slurry in the that media. These two criteria are there. By using this, you can improve MRR. On third option may be there, but I'm not knowing about that. You some research person can think about that, how to increase MRR in any other machining processes.
Okay, sir. Next question is at what rate the slurry is pumped through nozzle in USM?
In USM, ultrasonic machining, yes,
Yeah.
formation of nozzle is not much higher. As I told you in this PPT, I think you are asking about this question, right? Sludge.
Yes.
This
Yes, sir.
one, yes. Removal of sludge is very critical in such kind of machining processes, but it is not much higher. It depends upon the shape of this cutting portion. Whatever material is removed from this region, that volume plus around 40 to 50% volume, that would be the final volume of that slurry, right? Because in that slurry, chlorine and hydroxide are added. So that will that will increase that volume. Right, sir?
Okay, sir. And the last question is, which are the micro non-conventional processes and in which field they are being used?
Micro non-conventional machining processes.
Yes,
They are widely used in medical science. Suppose you need to manufacture stem of our heart. They are using these micro nano manufacturing processes. In nano engineering also, that is widely used.
Okay, sir. Okay. Still, there are lots of questions I am getting right now,
Okay,
but due
sir.
to the time constraint, I am unable to ask you, sir. I will forward it to you through WhatsApp or through mail.
Okay,
So
sir.
you will please clarify that
Okay,
doubts.
sir. Sure,
Okay,
sure.
sir. So a very big thank you, sir, You spend some time for us and you give the knowledgeable informations to our students. You give some basic knowledge about the non-conventional processes which is being used in industry, as well as you also explain the concept of Industry 4.0, sir. On behalf of the Parul University, I am very much thank you, sir. And I hope that in future also you will give us this kind of webinar to us for our students.
Definitely,
as well, faculty, sir. Thank you,
sure.
sir. Thank you so much,
Thank
sir.
you very much. Okay. See
Thank
you.
you, sir.